Let's get into four downs. Kind of four quick questions for you. You mentioned Barry Sanders, my all-time favorite NFL pro. Barry and John Elway, being from Denver and a Bronco guy.
Right.
Curious, here in first down, what are your favorite pro athletes, pro teams, college athletes, college teams that you kind of follow or you like growing up?
Well, so my two favorite running backs, like I mentioned, Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith is why I wear 22.
Oh yeah.
And so one of my first jerseys when I was a kid was a little Emmitt Smith jersey, and I still have it in my closet at my house in Casper. So I mean, that was one of the first jerseys I got, and I just always loved him for it, and I've always been 22 because of it. But for favorite teams and whatnot, we'll go back to players real quick. One of my favorite players is Richard Sherman. And it's funny because I always joke, especially one of my buddies being Dre and Lane, I hate DBs. I hate how they act on the field. But Richard Sherman is one of my favorites because he's someone who's unapologetically, in tune with the game, and he loves it, and he's almost psychotic, and people make fun of him because of that, but he loves the game so much that he's gonna say and do whatever he wants, and I've always loved that about him.
Yeah.
But favorite teams wise, favorite NFL team is the Buccaneers, and
one of my best friends is a Buccaneers
really?
fan from here in Nebraska.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe you're from Casper. How do you come about being a huge Bucs
So
guy?
my dad's from Tampa. My dad is originally from Tampa, Florida. So, I mean, I've been able to tour their stadium a couple of times in my life, and that's so awesome, but it's been rough times with the old Bucs. So it hurts me talking about them. Like I could really like talk and be mad at them all day, but
I'll make or break year for Jameis, I hear.
I'll give you a break on that. And then, of course, my favorite college team is Florida State. And so when they drafted Jameis, I was like the happiest guy ever, but hadn't really gone as planned as I wished. And then I also like the Raiders. I like them, and because my dad likes the Raiders, so I always kind of grew up liking them as well. But that's about it for football, I suppose.
Yeah. All right, Steph, let's move to second down. And this kind of goes back to the question when you were talking about the versatility and things that you've had in your career. Do you like rushing, returning, or receiving the football best? Because you played slot receiver for us one year. You returned kicks. You had a 95-yarder for a score. You're obviously an amazing running back. What do you like best to do with the football out of those three?
It's funny because they're all something that I do like doing, but my answer, if I'm going to give you an answer, they're all equally as fun. I love rushing the ball. I love catching the ball. I love returning the ball. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you don't have guys out there helping you. I hate when people think they call running backs like a cliche when we say this. But seriously, if I don't have linemen doing anything for me, I'm not going to catch the ball. I'm not going to rush the ball. You know what I mean? And if I'm there out there on kick return or punt return or what have you, how am I supposed to return the ball well if I don't have 10 other guys on the field blocking, doing their job?
Right.
And so something that has made my career so much more fun is, I have found some success with all three of those portions of the game, but it's because of my teammates. It's because of great dog soldiers, which are guys who are on 4 more ST. It's because of great dog soldiers like Brennan Bramer and Cole Thurnis, and those types of guys, Travis Wilson Gator, who are going to do their job on ST and make a return for me easy. And I've had a slew of offensive linemen who have all been great. Of course, Travis last year being an All-American, Jake Isle being an All-Conference guy.
Yeah,
it helps running behind them because they're great. And I've always had, and through this program, I've had great linemen, and it's so nice to have, because some teams, they may or may not run the ball a lot, but if their linemen aren't doing their job, it's tough. And I've always been blessed with great offensive linemen here. And of course, my one year as a receiver, I catch balls out of the backfield still, but my 1 year as a receiver, that was Dalton's first year.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen how he's grown, and he's really special, and he's such a humble guy, and that's probably his greatest quality is he's so humble. So being able to have been out there for that 1 year playing receiver for him and catching balls from him was a big highlight for me, because it was his first thing. It was his first time out there, so that was exciting. And so to answer your question, I really love it all. I love the game, and like I said, football, or like everyone says, football is the one true team sport.
Yeah.
And so without anyone else out there, you're not going to see me do anything, and that's just the nature of it all.
And Coach Long's going to love hearing you give those old linemen all kinds of credit.
I'm serious. I love those guys. I love them on every single one of them. I don't care if they're starting or not. I love them because those are the guys that help me make a few plays every now and again.
Yeah, you bet. Stevann, let's finish up with the last couple of downs here. Let's go to a third down question for you. What is your favorite non-CSC RMAC stadium? Where do you like to play? Obviously, Don Beebe Stadium. We love playing there. You got one in the conference that you really enjoy going to?
You know, I always liked. It's about scenery for me. So I mean, you do see like Cardinal Mines, and they're tucked in the mountains, and that's really beautiful to be there. And then Pueblo has a really beautiful stadium, in my opinion. So it's fun playing there. And then both those teams' atmospheres, you know, they are. I mean, it's no coincidence that they're two of the top teams in our conference, and they always bring out a great crowd for us. So it's fun to play in front of a big crowd and play in front of a lot of people who enjoy football, you know. And so playing against those two teams especially is fun because they are two of the best teams, but also playing in their respective stadiums is something that I have cherished in my career, and it's fun to go down there. And any game really, I've now been to every road game.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of crazy to say, but it's always a new experience. But those two stadiums, Dixie is also a beautiful stadium. That St. George area is really beautiful. But I like the drives of everywhere too. The drives, a lot of the Colorado schools especially, are so scenic. So
yeah, a little bit long at times on the bus. But how do you pass the time on the bus? We've got some long trips. What do you usually do?
This year, you know, we have both the St. George trip. It's like a 16-hour trek over to Utah or whatever it is, and then down to Las Vegas, New Mexico for Highlands. Yeah. And they're about the same, maybe even longer, you know. And those, when I'm on the bus, I'm a huge phone game guy. And I also like my social media. I like being on Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram and stuff like that. So that's my best time, and also sleep. My favorite hobby, I always tell everyone, is napping.
You got to get rest up to tote that rock.
I love napping. So so on the bus, that's how I pass the time. And then we always have movies playing as well for other guys. And it's kind of pick your poison, whatever you like to do. You know, that's how you're going to get it done.
Yeah, you bet. All right, Stevann, let's finish up with you on fourth down here tonight. What's your major and your career path? What do you want to do when you move on and get done here with Chadron State?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I'm in block, and that's the professional teaching course. And so I'm going into math education and history education for the middle grades. And so something that's always been inspiring to me was being able to coach people. And I mean, growing up underneath a coach being my dad, it was something that I fell in love with early on, you know, being able to be on the sideline and not only, you know, coach young people, but make a change in their lives and alter their lives for the better. And that's always something that I've been addicted to. And so during these fall camp, or doing the summer camps over the summer with the high schools, something I love and I bring so much energy to, because that's what I want to do someday. And then teaching, you know, I want to coach high school first and foremost. And so quickest way to coach high school is through teaching. And so it's something I've always loved, math, and I love history. So those are two things that was easy for me to say, oh yeah, I'd love to teach those two things. And then ultimately, you know, get into coaching that way and help some people. So I hope to maybe coach around this area, you know, just because I'm fine-tuned with the demographics, you know, around Wyoming, Nebraska, Colorado, and whatnot. Yeah. And it's just something that I've really been so in love with since I was a kid. And I'll credit it to my dad, because he was the one that showed me just how fun it could be.
That's outstanding. And two things you'll be great at, coaching and teaching. I'm sure, Stevann, and already a great football player. This has been an awful lot of fun, Stev. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for being with us. Have a great camp, great season. Thanks again.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you.
You bet. All our coverage in fall camp brought to you by Far West Cuisine and Chadron, food from around the world.